The brother is asking, is to belong to a school of thought, is it obligatory? We answer him very quickly in summary. It's not obligatory and it's not rejected. But the general need to look at the mufti, so he take care of the problem, that he take it to the people that he trusts in his religion and his knowledge, and not to follow a certain school of thought. If he had different answers, let him follow the one that he is ruling with Allah's way. And the way he knows it is to know the most knowledgeable and most fearful of Allah. And you know that by the commonly known. Or to follow what is the majority of the scholars follow. Because sometimes it is with the compilation of people instead of just an out of nowhere decision. And the compilation of all the conferences of the experts in Islam, the scholars in Islam, their decision is usually right, because of they are doing looking at every source way. So if you belong to one of the school of thoughts, there is nothing wrong with that, and follow that leader. And we advise the student to learn the school of thoughts, what is available for him, but without getting too extreme. Like if you are north of Africa, use the school of thought of Imam Malik. If you are in Pakistan and India, you take the Hanafi. In Syria, you take Shafi'i. If you are in Saudi Arabia, use Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And because the scholars who study that school of thoughts are abundance. Also, when we are talking about the obligation, maybe something temporary to stop the differences between people. And also it is good to put a school of thoughts to settle the decisions for the judges. It's no problem. This way no chaos will be, and to make it very clear what is the decision, so you could be able to deal with the law internationally in particular. So when people know that we are going into like laws of different international, people know what are the rules and the laws that we follow. Another important issue, the one who is making asking fatwa, he should not go from one scholar to another, so that will not make him from the obligation by taking that easy to go from one scholar to another until he finds someone who give him what he wants to learn, what he wants to hear. An important issue for the majority should not sometimes if people are having a headache, for example, someone took like a easy way for headache, but that headache could be for a different reason. So whatever caused the headache on this one is different than the other one. So to have only one medicine for that is playing with people's health. And the same thing in Islam. But he could take to him whatever he learned. For example, if you see a woman who is not covered and he's putting a lot of makeup and she's showing all her private parts, all people are equal. The knowledgeable that and the scholars that this is not allowed. This is wrong. So someone will say this is halal, this is haram. Someone is asking, I was provided with a contract to buy a car. In the beginning, we agreed on a price, and we make the contract on for the end. If it is like you're saying, a promise in the beginning and a contract at the end, this is accepted. And this is what the Islamic contract they do. It is allowed if it is followed, the footstep for it. The murabaha, the common know that the institution will get an order to buy a certain product with certain and say that I will buy it with giving you a profit. So they sell it back to with the original price with the profit. But important issue here, they have to, for the seller, the bank, the institution, they have to be responsible for any damages, or any damage could happen, or any damage that is hidden. Before I took the car, the one who is transporting the car, it has an accident and it was destroyed in the road. Who is responsible for the damage is the bank, the seller, because he is a seller but not a loaner. This is the difference between riba and Islamic institution, where the responsibility lies. This is where it is the difference. The Islamic institution, they are responsible for the product until it is received by the other one. Also, they are guaranteeing after even it was transported. Like I took that car and then it has an engine problem, because you're not taking a loan, you are buying a car, and to buy on the condition of good. If there's a fault, then he need to work on that. So my brother is asking, is there a problem to make that problem with an Islamic faisal? First of all, I don't know what is the something that that specific bank is doing something haram or right. You need to ask the people of the East who knows that bank. They know what is the conditions and what are the rules that it's follow. But it's not. Don't put dust on the Islamic experience because of guess or wrongdoing. If you learn about a specific deal that is wrong from these Islamic, that by itself, that is, you need to stay away, and the rest should be on allowance, that it should be allowed. Another question person is asking, someone has a son and a daughter. His son died a month ago, 25 years old, with no reason. No son knows what's going to gain tomorrow. So he's asking if the father wrote the villa to his daughter. So her uncles and her cousin will not share that. For her mother, after his death, he want to make sure his wife, he will have a house. They will have after. So his brothers, because he don't have a son who's going to protect the inheritance. So if the woman took her inheritance, the rest of the inheritance go to his brothers. So he don't want a dispute about the house, and his wife and his daughter will be kicked out of the house. So he want to make sure that is there anything wrong to do it while he's still alive? He don't have a problem. The rest of his wealth could be divided, but not that house. The answer, we tell him, if there is a contract or given a gift while they are alive, it is okay. The father in his life can't do anything he wants with his wealth without going to something that is disobedience to Allah. If he gave his wife and his daughter a house, and not a will after death, because the will cannot be for someone who is inheriting, because Allah already divided that. So the wife took from the book of Allah, she gets 1/8. The daughter took 1/2. So there is no inheritance, no will for someone who inherits, except if the inheritance, they allow that. That's their right, and they can do whatever they want. They give it to anybody they want. After it become inheritance, they're not going to inheritance after the death. The gifts has to be taken. It's very important that a lot of people are not aware of it. Sometimes you give a gift for your son, but you don't give it to him. You don't own it. If it's not given and the person died, then it is not a gift anymore. Because Abu Bakr says he gave Aisha 20 wasq, and when he's about to die, he said, I gave you 20 wasq. If you take over it, then it will be yours, but you didn't take it. So today it is inheritance. You could document it in the court where he cannot legally go back and take it because it's theirs. I mean, someone is a generous person, good, kind man. We hope that he is. He said, I want to have a partnership with someone. They're going to be loaning. He don't have money. I will loan him that 1/3 of the value. I'm going to pay for all the project. I will loan him 1/3 of the value of the investment. I take it either on payment or from the office that Allah will give him from the company. Is that allowed? Is there a problem with that? We tell him, nothing wrong with what you said. This is kindness of you. And I hope if your intention is right, don't give him favor and no harm. It will be something that will be getting closer to Allah. So the ayah will apply to you, inshallah. Ameen. Ameen. So someone is asking, I'm doing my best. I pray Jum'ah. I take a permission to take 1 or 2 hours break, so I'll be in the masjid. For that, I sacrifice a lot of my time for my. I work in the weekend, so they will help me whenever I'm going to be behind for Jum'ah. So I do a lot of things so I can get the Friday break. I'm afraid that I cannot do that one day. So if that happens, it will be something exception. If there's something wrong with Allah Azza wa Jal. The answer will tell you. Jazakallah khair for your concern and your verifying. And to spend more time at work so you could compensate the time for Jum'ah. And that happened out of seldom that you miss Jum'ah because of something out of your control and you prayed it at Dhuhr. And this is something out of something exceptional. So I hope that you have that permission and you'll be safe because all the statements from the Prophet that warn about leaving Jum'ah, it's all about people who leave it intentionally with no excuse because he will be among the hypocrites. Or the other hadith, whoever leave 3 Jum'ah think it's easy, Allah will seal his heart. Meaning he is lazy, not serious about performing the Jum'ah. So he'll be written among the hypocrites, and I hope that will not be applied to you. The conclusion for Amja, when there is the conflict between school and the Fridays, and you cannot make the adjustment, then he is allowed to temporarily not be in Jum'ah until he'll be able to have a different schedule where he will not have that conflict. And he needs to do every possible way to do that. If he can't, then should not to always leave Jum'ah because of school. And he need to find a way out. But I have another way out. If you are capable of having enough people to perform Jum'ah in your work at the time when there's no other choice, then that's a way out. If you are 3, you can make the Jum'ah at the time of lunch at your work, and does not make any difference if it is before Dhuhr. If it is like 11 or 11:30 before Dhuhr by an hour or an hour and a half, there is nothing wrong with that because it is allowed to do it as Hanbali Madhab do. So think of that as a way out that you could use at the time of need. But know that the origins is to pray Jum'ah in the masjid that compile people, not in the place of work. In the decision of Amja, it says originally that the Jum'ah done in the masjid. If you cannot be there, then you could make it in the public areas like of school, and you should have enough people to have. And to determine that number, it's about a disputed matter. Some said it has to be 40 or 50, and some they said no, 2 beside the Imam. And it is very wide in this matter. Current woman is asking, do we have to wash the hands from alcohol after use it as the time of Corona? We always enter and we use sanitizer and we enter the masjid immediately. Is this najas and I cannot use and I have to go and wash my hands? The answer The purification of alcohol is a disputed matter with the scholars. Some that this is okay, some it is filth, and the sin to pure. They have a reason because the companions they poured the alcohol on the streets when it was forbidden, and Medina was full of alcohol. If it is filthy, it was not allowed for them to pour it in the street. The sanitation you cannot have in the streets. The women they walk and their garments always drag behind them. This is some of what the scholars they said about the purification of the alcohol. It's not something a filth that of touch. It is a filth of spiritual, because Allah said, indeed the mushrikeen are najas. I should not come to the holy Mecca after that. That we think they are stinky is not something you like. If you shake a hand of someone who is a mushrik, no, this is like a spiritual one, not an actual one. The international conference, Islamic conference, they used that alcohol is pure by itself. Because the alcohol is concentrated or is it diluted, and you could use the alcohol as sanitizing to the instruments or to the hands, or to use it in a cologne. Or to use the cream that there's alcohol in it for the face. Does not have lots of alcohol because forbidden to benefit from it. Ameen. Ameen. A question about selling with installment with increase of money. Nothing wrong with selling with installment with increase of. It should be a profit that added to the principal, not something that is separate, that is called interest, or it will be a certain percentage from the principal. The decision of American Muslim jurist, international one, on that it is okay to sell by installment with the increase of the price. So they're asking, is there a reason? I worked installment 3 years, and Allah allowed me, and I paid all of it in 1 year. Can the third can take part of his profit because of me paying ahead of time? So after 1 year I paid everything. It's called al-hatita. So you delete the loan so you could rush it. The decision from American Muslim jurist internationally, they said nothing wrong to reduce the money of the loan so you could pay, but it has to be two individuals. Like you cannot have a third party who buys the end, like someone who will get the loans, he give it to a bank, they'll give him 900 cash. That kind of action is not allowed. This is riba all the way. But if this continued as between the two, there is nothing wrong with that. It was said, the hadith, that the Prophet when he wanted to take the Yahud of Bani Nadir, they had loans from him. So he said, but and rush. But we are stressed that in pain instruments someone's asking, the contract that I buy the car, there is a penalty if you don't pay. We have said about the penalties, and there is nothing wrong with sharing that. It's not allowed because it's riba. That's going to either they have something that you either pay or we get increase. But if it is in the contract, in the American Muslim Jurist Association, they said that delayed loans are not allowed from the loans, and the debtor, he needs to look into his options. And this is not like the contract for building a building or so. I mean, a question: can you marry without dowry with the acceptance of the wife? She loves her husband. She is accepting at him. She told him, I don't need nothing for dowry. I already put it back. Is that accepted? The answer, dowry, one of the parts of marriage. It's not a condition. Allah said, there is nothing wrong with you if you divorce a woman, if you did not touch them or order them pay. So to make it the decision of divorce before it shows that you allow not to put in the dowry, and after the marriage she could give it away, or they don't want to have him, because if they allowed it with their choice, not forcefully, then it is okay. But she cannot right to, she said, I will give you with no dowry. No, this is not for anyone after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. إن وهبت نفسها للغني إن أراد النبي أن يستنكحها خالصة. And Allah said it is purely for him from the believers. He have learned what he obligated them in their husbands, so they will not have a burden. فإسقاط المهر لا يحل بحال الدخول من البداية على إسقاط المهر لا يحل لكن بعد لا بأس
لقوله تعالى فإن طبن لكم عن شيء منه نفسا فكلوه هنيئا مريئا. اللهم اهدنا سواء
آمين.
السبيل وقنا عذابك يوم تبعث عبادك يا رب العالمين.
آمين.
سؤال يسأل
Someone is asking, a mother who's a widow, she spent on herself and her kids from what he inherited from her husband. She have 5 kids, they reach purity, and some they have debt, and they cannot pay it. And the other one they have to pay rent. Can she pay from the zakah? There is a rule that you don't pay the fathers or the grandfather nor the sons or the grandkids from what comes to their daily necessities, because if they need something they take it from the wealth of their fathers, not from their zakah. But there is nothing wrong to pay the debt from zakah.
والأولاد ليسوا مكلفين بسداد ديون آبائهم وأرجو أن لا حرج فيما ذكرت.
So I hope there's no burden on what you have mentioned. Someone's asking, I have 401k. This is an early retirement thing, as most of you know. The company, they spend some money
جهات وشركات ما عندك إمكانية على الرؤية والمراقبة والمتابعة. هل يجوز لي أن أستثمر؟
So can I invest with these areas without me be able to verify? Well, Amjad, they have a beautiful decision, details about the chosen accounts, where you enter by choice, not obligated. But it is the way to get the what is taken from your so the company they match whatever they pay you from it to the 401k. والذي يمثل المبلغ المستقطع من راتبه أو ضعفه، كما يعني زيادة نسبة الضريبة، لأن الجهات الحكومية تخفض نسبة الضرائب على الذين يشتركون في هذه الحسابات. In addition, to lose the opportunity to and to make sure that his kids with their honorable. But the rule about participating with these kind of accounts, they said if the deal of friendship, it became the only way to and to stay away from the tax and to always to use that habit of investment. In addition, we have talking about millions of dollars are seeked. And then he said, from who participate in these, he needs to do his best. And they can then they said you have to be very careful for this paragraph for the through employee to what was taken away and the results of its investment. But what you look for about how you're going to use these for. So you have to get rid away from whatever is known that's going to could be forbidden. So I hope that you'll be rewarded from being peaceful away from the hellfire. What is the rule, the right of the widow? The woman is always protected. If she leaves her husband, so she goes to her father. So there is a relationship between expenditure and the inheritance. So if you inherit me after that, then you have to pay for my life if you can't. Even if they go to the court that's going to mention what to do. And this is had no doubt about it. But if you want to have something but I tell him this condition is not allowed. It is do it.
أنت اشتريت ال100 فبدل ما تدفع 100 أو 105 تدفع 95.
So going the opposite riba, it is okay. Can you read from the Mus'haf during the obligatory prayer? Yes, if there is a need, if someone is repented nearly, he can use whatever is allowed from the Quran. Because what is known to hold the Mus'haf during the Taraweeh. But also you look at what is needed in the prayers, inshallah. So everybody who died in Islam, even the one who commits suicide, you still ask Allah for mercy on him and we pray on him. Yes, the one who commits suicide, we don't do a ceremony for him. He needs to be left in his funeral, but you don't. You have to wash him, make takfeen, the clothes that he's going to, and then it's and the same thing. For there's abundance of doubtful things. We have factories that really want to brainwash people, and some of these will ruin some of the people with knowledge. I mean. And if you find the matter that has disbelief in 99 ways and Islam in one, take him from the Islam. Is buying the credit card, paying the bill, is that loan buy with loan? You cannot use the credit card to begin with except as a need. because you have
زيادة ربوية إذا عجزت
put,
فإذا عجزت عن الوفاء فإنك
if you cannot pay,
لكن هذه ليست من جنس بيع الدين بالدين.
this is not selling debt by debt, because you are paying something
لكن عندما قدمت
now. When you have provided the money to pay your debt,
فهذه ليست من جنس الدين، لكن لا ينبغي أن تلجأ إلى أقل اهتمام أيها المبارك إلا عند الحاجة الحقيقية، وتستخدمها في حدود حاجتك، في حدود قدرتك على الوفاء، وأنت عازم على الوفاء.
when you know that you're capable of fulfilling, and you know that his loan will be held in his grave until it's paid. The Prophet ﷺ did not pray on someone, those who have debt. Even the someone of the board who has become the principal, the main man, he will come in. He is ignorant compared to the no. I don't know how to read the question, understand exactly what the question, but the question at the end, can you file legal parts against him? Well, the answer should not use the masjid to the Muslims. That should be the last option. When you iron someone's face or the back, that be the last option. But do your best and use the dignitaries from the community and to make them stop having these wrong views. If the question about implication where you put the semen and the eggs and it's outside it's done in very professional, they're very accurate, and that was the time of the life of the husband. It is okay. Like the woman cannot bring his frozen semen so she can have kids. No, that is not allowed. So this is a dangerous way. There'll always be an area where things could cross the area. Because any problem, meaning you have problem with the names. So again, from the principle, it is okay. I mean the woman, not the man. And the two conditions. Suppose this one has one of her eggs and the man have taken the semen. She cannot use that one to bring the sperm from the man. If he's alive, it is okay. And the semen has to be from the husband. The kids of it is a condition that, but they require that the man will have the sperms and the woman have the egg, and the womb has to be the wife, not for a third person. Because who's gonna say, is this your mother? It is the one with the egg or the one with the womb? Allah said, their mothers, those they delivered them, and they are claiming wrong things and false talk. To put the dog to for entertainment, this is wrong. whomever had a dog, except the one for hunting or cattle, he will lose 2 qirats.
كما كلبا إلا كلب ضارية لصيد أو كلب ماشية نقص من عمله كل يوم قيراطان. لماذا تنقلون عن
So why are you saying the worst that they have? They have good character. Try to copy it, not just the dog.
الكريمة الأخرى حديث المستورد القرشي عندما قال لعمرو بن العاص تقوم الساعة والروم أكثر الناس فقال
The hadith, when he said the hour will happen and the rooms are the most abundant, he said, look what you're saying. He said, why you said that? He said they have 4 characters. They are very calm people with Fatima, the first one to wake up with, and he is the last one to run away from the battlefield. And a 5th one, they are the most who stop the oppression of the kings. That's what kept this civilization. So the 5th character, which is they stop the oppression of the tyrants. So learn from this and leave the dog alone. And I repeat, whoever had a dog except for security or hunting, he would lose 2 qirats. Another one, I paid someone with more. I make deposit more, and before receiving it, I sold it.
دفعت لشخص آخر بثمن أكثر. بعت ولا دفعت؟ الله أعلم ماذا يريد أن يقول. صاحب هل يجوز؟
So, can he sell the house before he receives it? Yes. You don't have to hold it. You took the keys. So sometimes we sell if you preserve an apartment, so you can't sell it. It is described. What is the rule of someone who's away from his wife and he have semen while talking to his wife? So the Sheikh saying it is for the husband and wife, they are good for each other except the period and the anal place. Otherwise they are okay for each other. But don't be using the technology, because this will document these phone calls that you are foolishly using. You do not stop with the rules of Allah. The people are watching you. And you'll be surprised that it is live on the internet. So what I'd like for you to stay away from these things and to be as patient and do your best to receive your wife to you. And remember what Allah said, that them who do not find nikah until they are, and the Sayyid of the Prophet ﷺ, all the youth get married. If you can't, then use fasting. Inshallah, we'll continue on Thursday. SubhanAllah.
أكبر الله